Hey everyone, gonna do a shop update tonight, kind of walk you through some of my projects and do a little walk around the shop. I haven't done that on this channel since the switch over and since the remodel last winter. So gonna show you the projects I got going on and what I've got working in here with. Recently picked up a RC 4-wheel drive Trailfinder 2. Don't know exactly if I'm gonna do anything with that or just turn it around and sell it. My axial Jeep Wrangler, it's got the Vanquish Curry axles underneath of it. So this one is coming along pretty well. It's been fairly well built up. Running the Vanquish rigid light bar, Vanquish OMF wheels and and the Maxxis tires from Axial. Sitting next to it is that goat chassis that I've been working on. You can see a couple of videos on that, as well as the Wraith Jimmy's 4x4 that I've been working on for a year or better, and the rig that is possibly going to be the donor for that goat built chassis. Anyway, just kind of walk you around the shop. That's a little area that's been set up for photos and such, but I tend to use it a lot as a workspace. I've got the Sportsman from last year put on it. This also had the first person view camera set up in it, which was one of the first views on this particular channel. So what I plan on doing is actually swapping under some AR60 axles on it that I plan to narrow up. I haven't got to that yet. I don't know that I'm going to get it done for our spring season, but do hope to get it done for the summer season. So hopefully I'll have some updates on that coming up in the next few months. Anyway, all my workbench space is pretty well taken up, and then as well as my fab table over there. I've got some of the Wraith parts from the Jimmy's 4x4 just spread around. Also parts from my quadcopter project that I'm still working on learning to fly it better. Obviously the last outing was an incident with the tree, so it had broken that motor off and trashed some blades. So waiting on some flame wheel replacement arms for that. Anyway, the fab table, my Thermal Arc 95S TIG welder, also the fixture table, which you've seen in a couple of videos. Still working on this project and hope to have some available for purchase for some of you guys that have been asking for them. A little Thunder Tiger bike that I've never actually ridden. This is the setup I use for brazing. This is a jeweler's torch setup from Harbor Freight. The torch itself ran about 120 bucks. It's an oxygen acetylene setup. Came with, I think, like 4 or 5 different tips. Works really well to control the heat in really tight situations if you do want to get into some really detailed metalwork. Nice little setup. The oxygen acetylene setup there is just a regular HVAC sized bottle and holder. So if you want to get into something to work on tube chassis, you can get that pretty cheap. My little bender here is a BAC Industries rod bender. You can pick them up on Amazon for, I think, under 30 bucks shipped. I've showed it before. This little piece here is the die, and it comes with several different sizes. So from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, I believe. There's several sitting around here. I only see a few handy, but that's the little bender that I've used that works really well. This is a ring roller. You use it to make anywhere from 4-inch to however large you want, round rolled rods. So nice little piece. Don't use it all that often, but do plan to do some decorative metal work for inside the house, some fixtures and things like that. These pieces here, it's hard to see, but these are some doors I'm making for a linen closet. Anyway, I've got some 50s style car door handles that are now the door pulls. I need to attach the new hinges that I've got here, and then put the thin sheet metal behind it. The sheet metal I'll be doing a copper coating on though, so it'll give it and then it is finished with a torch flame appearance. So I'll hopefully show you guys that once I get that finished. That there's just the argon bottle for the thermal arc welder. This is my little MIG welder. I scored it off eBay. I think it was under 400 bucks. A little bottle of C25 in the back there that I use. So I do have separate bottles for the two different welders. These are just parts and projects and things like that that are kind of spread around. I do have the 1/6 Willys project over there with a 1/4-inch steel channel frame that was made for me by the Carnage crew out in Colorado. Other than that, just random parts and pieces. Over here, my 2.2 XR10 comp rig. The Viterra twin hammers sitting next to it. That right there is the Doodlebug, just kind of a fun rig that I've had for a little while. HPI desert truck that I've never ran or touched. That's my little Harbor Freight bandsaw. It's a vertical or horizontal setup. I've got it locked into the vertical position with a larger table made for it, and then just a seat thrown on it to make it a little more handy to work. Along the machinery table, standard bench grinder, handy for whatever. This is a new piece I picked up. I think it's a 7 by 14 lathe. Anyway, nice little piece, handy. It belonged to a friend of mine. He didn't need it anymore, so I picked it up from him. Got it for a pretty good deal, and it's always handy to have a lathe. He used to bring it over here quite a bit, and talked him into letting me buy it off of him. This is a little 6-inch mini chop saw. Really handy for the size of stuff that I do. I'd love to have a bigger chop saw, but space is a little bit tight in here, and I don't do anything that large. So, Chicago belt sander combo. That's a really handy piece. That's something I would suggest to anybody. Your standard benchtop drill press. And then this is my TAG mini mill. It's a full CNC 3-axis mill. The bed on it is, it's got a working area of 7 inches front to back, 14 inches left to right, and 9 inches in the Z. Nice little setup. It's all on stepper motors. It's not servo operated or anything like that. It's got a decent sized motor with the pulley system. You can get up to 10,000 RPMs. My little setup here, I've got just a chip barrier, and then I've got a modified shower curtain that I'm able to pull around, and it sits behind that chip barrier, and it keeps everything nice and contained. So a very simple setup for me, works really well. My control module sits down there. That runs the steppers. My PC over to the left. Keyboard and monitor mounted on the wall. But anyway, that's kind of the layout of my shop here. Gives you a little bit of a view of where I work and everything. This area was completely stripped. Just a regular basement when I started last year. I walled everything off and made it into the place where I can work now. So, thought I'd show you guys this. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one.